Okay, I'll be right there. Hey, what the... Where's my bag?
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at the classics of the spooky genre and seeing which of them deserves a top-to-bottom makeover and republishing. These are 20 horror games that well and truly deserve a remake. Let's go.
Before we continue, we publish content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos.
Resident Evil Outbreak.
Please help! If someone's there, help me!
It's honestly wild that both Resident Evil Outbreak and Resident Evil Outbreak File Number 2 are still locked away on the PlayStation 2 like some umbrella cover-up. These games were basically an early 2000s love letter in the same vein as Metal Gear Solid VR, dropping players into 10 total scenarios across a collapsing Raccoon City and letting the chaos unfold from multiple civilian perspectives. It was a nice, fresh way to experience the world without interrupting the flow of the main games. The sheer variety of outcomes, character abilities, and branching events makes them ridiculously replayable, and the soundtrack absolutely slaps in that early 2000s Capcom way. The series is screaming for a remake. Think of all the voice actor cameos. What video game voice actor wouldn't be foaming at the mouth to work on that game? Deep Fear.
Chief!
What's going on?
April Fools!
Deep Fear is about as close as you can get to the Resident Evil formula without triggering a polite but firm phone call from Capcom's legal department. Like many late 90s survival horror imitators, it borrowed the tank controls, stiff delivery, and familiar structure. It did all this while not really improving anything, making it difficult to stand out as anything other than a clone if you just look at the surface. Trust me, this game rules. Where Deep Fear genuinely separates itself is how seriously it takes the survival aspect of survival horror. Set inside a doomed underwater research base, the game revolves around a constantly depleting oxygen supply. Certain flooded areas can be explored with limited air, forcing players to hunt for refill stations and breathing masks. That mechanic doesn't just add tension, it reshapes how you approach exploration entirely. This gameplay style is yearning for a remake, or maybe it's just me. Dark Seed. If you're diving into Dark Seed hoping for deep, inventive gameplay, you might want to recalibrate those expectations. At its core, it's a fairly traditional point-and-click adventure about a struggling writer who finds himself entangled in an alien nightmare, following genre conventions more than reinventing them. But this can all be overhauled in a beautiful remake. The real reason to experience Dark Seed isn't the puzzles, it's H.R. Geiger. His unmistakable biomechanical art style seeps into every corner of the game, elevating it beyond its mechanics. It's the perfect game for a rehaul. It has all the pieces for greatness, and it just needs a good butcher to carve off the fat. Hellnight. From the studio that brought you Persona, Hellnight attempted a defenseless first-person horror experience long before that design philosophy became trendy, but they hadn't quite mastered how movement and visibility should function in a game where shooting isn't optional. The result can feel awkward to control, even if the ambition is admirable. Beyond these mechanical missteps though, the game shines. You know what that means? Perfect recipe for a remake. The story unfolds in a bleak dystopia, following a fugitive fleeing a cult who's suddenly hunted by a grotesque laboratory escapee. The chaos leads into a hidden underground refuge populated by society's outcasts and drifters. Its story outweighs its gameplay, and with the right team, they could finally be evenly matched. Galerians. You see it a lot in the late 90s, and actually a lot on this list too, to be fair, games that are compared to Capcom classics of the time. But few titles have been unfairly boxed in by the Resident Evil comparison, quite like Galerians. Sure, it uses fixed camera angles and tank style controls, but that was more the era than anything else. What truly separates Galerians from its peers is its reliance on psychic abilities instead of conventional firearms. And trust me, it doesn't make you feel overpowered. Every psychic attack drains valuable resources, takes time to activate, and pushes the protagonist's body to dangerous limits. That constant risk transforms combat into a tense balancing act rather than a power fantasy. It's a mechanic we've seen used a few times over the years, and it always adds an interesting level to the formula. I have no mouth and I must scream.
Chorister! Do you remember the last words you heard your wife speak before they took her to the asylum?
I've been a vocal supporter of this game for years and also on this channel, and I can only imagine the possibilities that would open up with a full remake. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream absolutely nails its oppressive premise, a sadistic supercomputer tormenting the last remnants of humanity. And it nailed it because you felt like the game was the sadistic supercomputer, and it was tormenting you. It leaned so hard into cruelty that its puzzle design felt like it was made as intentionally hard as possible. It's punishing, obtuse, and borderline hostile, and in the era of the Witness and the Talos principle, gamers would eat this title up. On top of this, the writing, atmosphere, and themes are powerful enough that even if the puzzles proved too difficult, the vibes would still hold up 100%.
This foolish man is tangled in barbed wire.
Silent Hill 4: The Room. If Silent Hill 2 can get a full remake glow up, then goddammit we can do the same with Silent Hill 4: The Room. This entry doesn't need to be rejigged because it's better than Silent Hill 3 or Silent Hill 1. It's because it feels like it had the most squandered potential and ambitious ideas, particularly for this era of horror gaming. There's a strong concept buried in there, but parts feel oddly hurried, and the cracks show most clearly in the sound design. For a series famous for unsettling audio, this one drops the ball. A remake could overhaul the entire audio landscape to restore that suffocating dread the franchise is known for. Eileen's escort sections would benefit from smarter AI and less frustration, and certain puzzles could use serious refinement. There's also room to deepen the lore and even use the original Japanese promotional material stuff that was cut to link it to Silent Hill F. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. I'm just Mojo dude. This is Konami's problem. The Thing.
Identify yourself.
Captain, it's Carter. Christ, where's everybody?
The Thing stands as one of the rare movie tie-ins that doesn't feel like a lazy cash-in. I recently played the remaster, and all I was thinking was this has more potential than that young bloke in the Jackson 5. Set after the events of the film, it wisely avoids over-explaining the lore and instead zeroes in on paranoia. Who cares how this creature got here? It's here now. Watch your back. The real terror was never about being unarmed, it was about not knowing who to trust. The game captures that beautifully through its squad-based trust system. You command allies divided into roles, each essential in different situations, and all of this happens completely in single player. At any point, your trusted companion might mutate into a shrieking abomination and turn their weapons and skills against you. That constant uncertainty creates tension few single-player horror games have matched.
Maybe you will get us out of this.
Sanitarium.
What's happening? Where am I?
Here's an entry that plenty of people have been asking to be remade way back since 1998. You step into the role of a man who wakes up confined inside a mental institution with no memory of his identity or circumstances. In spirit, Sanitarium feels like a Disco Elysium testing ground. It doesn't lean heavily into branching role-playing systems or intricate dialogue trees, but it achieves something equally powerful by weaponizing uncertainty. The game constantly blurs the line between delusion and reality, forcing you to question what is real. Turn that isometric view into a first-person adventure, and you've got the makings of a narrative that could destroy the minds of today's youth.
And I was so sure that I would find some clues in here. Interesting. Damn, useless crap.
Haunting Ground.
I've gathered some clothes for you.
Hey Capcom, we know you love Resident Evil, but don't forget you've got other classics dying to be revisited. In Haunting Ground, the nightmare begins with 18-year-old Fiona Belly surviving a car crash only to regain consciousness inside a cage in a shadowy castle dungeon, her memories fragmented and unreliable. Fiona was so great they reused her likeness for Jill in Resident Evil 5. The castle's oppressive beauty and hide-and-seek gameplay, enhanced by your dog Huey's companionship, create a distinctive survival horror identity that deserves a remake. It doesn't need it, it deserves it.
Master Ugo and Mistress Ayla are both deceased. You, Miss Fiona, are the sole surviving heir of Belly Castle. Are you in pain, miss?
Obscure.
I just finished practice. Just a quick shower and I'll be right there.
Good. And don't be late this time. See you, baby.
Okay, I'll be right there. Hey, what the... Where's my bag?
Obscure is one of those horror titles that quietly slipped under the radar, despite having far more going on than most people remember. Built around 5 distinct playable students, each with specialized abilities and their own reactions to unfolding events, the game encourages replayability by letting different personalities shape the narrative. The best part of this game, and the thing that made it define my childhood, was its co-op. And up until that point, I hadn't experienced a game in this style cooperatively. It was unreal. What begins as a rescue mission in a high school soon becomes a giant layered conspiracy involving kidnapping and the occult. Mechanically, Obscure was ahead of its time. It had an awesome inventory system and, most terrifying, the ability for your character to die. This added heavy stakes.
Mr. Friedman, the school.
Why are you still here? Why aren't you at home?
But sir, there are these weird creatures.
Here on the school grounds?
Yes, in the office building too. We've got to do something. Kenny's disappeared. Mr. Walden has called the police.
Mr. Walden is here?
Yeah, he said you would help us.
Koudelka. Let's get a little weird for a second. Koudelka was a PlayStation-era experiment that fused turn-based tactics with full-on gothic horror, which already sounds like a fever dream Square Enix meeting, but it was real. While it technically connects to the later Shadow Heart series, Koudelka is easily the bleakest and most horror-focused entry in that lineage. The plot is dense, layered, and unapologetically convoluted in that very specific late 90s Japanese way. And in its own cruel way, Koudelka understood psychological horror perfectly. Let's get a remake with turn-based like Claire Obscure. And guess what? It'll be all over.
Hey. Hey. Wait a minute. Hey.
Edward.
Sweet Home. Not many people know about this late 80s classic, not realizing it was the entire inspiration behind Resident Evil. This Capcom classic Sweet Home blended RPG structure with survival mechanics, limited resources, and permanent character consequences. Its influence is undeniable, as you can see, yet it remains largely inaccessible to modern audiences. Licensing tied to the original movie has likely complicated any revival, but a boy can pray. It doesn't need a top-to-bottom recreation, just a thoughtful remake with updated visuals, refined artwork, and polished modern translations that could do what Final Fantasy's Pixel Remaster did for the Final Fantasy series. It'd be awesome. Nightmare Creatures. The thing that makes pretty much every game on this list ripe for a remake is them bursting with atmosphere and ambition, but tripping over their own execution, and none do it more so than Nightmare Creatures. The gothic horror vibe was strong and the creature design was memorable, yet the awkward camera angle, stiff controls, and really repetitive combat held it back from greatness. Drawing on real events like the Great Fire of London, the historical depth makes it feel really compelling. Despite mixed reviews, the game earned a sequel and even flirted with a film adaptation, proving there was interest in its world. A remake wouldn't need to reinvent the premise, just refine it. Modernized combat, smoother controls, upgraded visuals and sound, and tighter pacing could transform nightmare creatures into the next Resident Evil 2. Clive Barker's Undying.
Little did I know I'd end up being labeled as Patrick Galloway, the man with endless occult knowledge. Before I knew it, people all over the world paid me to investigate all kinds of weird things.
I had a friend request I try Clive Barker's Undying just last year, and although I had no nostalgia attached, which made it hard to connect with raw 25 years after its release, it did tell me one important thing. This game needs a remake. Beneath the dated graphics lies a layered narrative packed with loyalty, betrayal, grotesque enemies, and a mystery that unfolds really organically, arguably perfectly if it wasn't for the second half. And while the first half does feel far stronger, the foundation is powerful. With modern visuals and refined pacing, a remake could elevate Clive Barker's Undying to Clive Barker's Unliving. Shut up. Siren Blood Curse.
Where those bunch of murderers go to pray?
No, you have it all wrong. That was a mistake.
Like I told you before.
Just shut up.
Come on.
I swear you're completely useless.
A first-party PS3 exclusive and itself a reimagining of the original Siren, Siren Blood Curse delivered a far more polished and terrifying experience, packed with suffocating tension and deeply unsettling moments. But it came out in 2008, so it's been basically a lifetime of game development. Come on! Let's get cooking on its third remake. Much like early segments of Outlast, it thrives on vulnerability and panic, though it smartly balances that helplessness with the occasional opportunity to defend yourself. While a straightforward remaster might seem adequate, the PS3's notoriously complex architecture makes porting difficult, which is why titles such as Demon's Souls and Shadow of the Colossus were rebuilt entirely. So, here's my plan. Finish Metal Gear Solid 4, then get cracking on Siren Blood Curse.
Wait, you were part of that ritual.
That girl is cursed, you know. She needs to be sacrificed.
The Suffering.
You know he's scheduled to get what he deserves.
Ernesto, you can really be a jackass. You know that?
But you hear what this one did?
I don't want to know. And you know when
He beat his ex-wife to a bloody pulp. Killed her with his fists.
Look, I said I didn't...
Then he drowned one son in the tub and threw the other out a window. Don't ask me to cry for him.
A lot of these entries have a defining mechanic or a style that made them stand out enough to want to be revisited, but prettier. The Suffering is no different, and its standout quality was that it wasn't subtle horror, it was unapologetically brutal and grossly dark. The game embraced chaos with savage melee combat, Molotov cocktails, grotesque creature designs, and even demonic transformations. It was Manhunt with a Silent Hill / Resident Evil twist. It had a reckless confidence and no fear to dive into the depths of humanity and display it in front of you. Love it or hate it, The Suffering committed fully and deserves a remake.
I want it to end!
Resident Evil Code Veronica.
What are you saying?
You're free to leave the complex. But you may as well know you have no chance of getting off this island.
And what about you? What are you going to do?
Don't worry about me.
Capcom has performed one of the craziest video game comebacks of all time as it's been steadily rebuilding the Resident Evil legacy. They started with relaunching the series style after the devastating Resident Evil 6 and remaking entries from Resident Evil 2 through to Resident Evil 4, but there was an aggressive jump in the series between 3 and 4, and that was Resident Evil Code Veronica. Most fans of the series consider Code Veronica as Resident Evil 3.5, feeling as it is as important as the other numbered entries, and it deserves way better. While ambitious for its time, the original shows its age in ways the others didn't. The narrative and voice performances lack the charm or camp appeal that helped earlier titles endure, and the sprawling environments can feel confusing rather than cleverly interconnected. Its level design could benefit from tightening, guiding players more intuitively instead of leaving them wandering aimlessly. In fact, a lot of the elements in this game are nearly great, from puzzles to gameplay. This is one that could be the perfect remake opportunity. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem.
Miss Alexandra Roivas?
Yeah, who's this?
This is Inspector LaGrasse of the Rhode Island Police. I'm sorry to disturb you, but there's been an accident.
Eternal Darkness has players inhabit 12 different characters across centuries, unfolding a whodunit narrative that features scary monsters, forbidden spells, and a deep mystery begging to be solved. The narrative ambition is undeniable, layered, unsettling, and thematically rich. Its biggest flaw isn't the writing or concept, but just age. A modern remake could revitalize its presentation while preserving its psychological brilliance. Historically significant as Nintendo's first M-rated title, it earned major accolades, including Outstanding Achievement in Character or Story Development at the 2003 Interactive Achievement Awards. And I know me praising them on this sounds sarcastic, but I swear it's just because I'm usually an asshole. Fatal Frame. The Fatal Frame series has been getting a remounting unmatched by any other series on this list. We've got remasters for modern consoles, we've got the Wii installment re-released, and now it's time to start looking at full-scale remakes. The title that truly deserves a full-scale rebuild is the original Fatal Frame. Mainly because it's the one that shows its age the most. Its structure stretches the experience thin, setting players through the same mansion across 4 separate nights with only minor variations. The repetition dulls what should be mounting dread. A proper remake could completely rethink that progression, transforming each day into a meaningfully distinctive chapter with newly opened areas, different enemy placements, and evolving environmental storytelling. But obviously, just do your thing, developer, whoever you are. Just let me be your playtester, please. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos.